On August 19th, I saw the Emoji movie, or as the ticket stub says, the Emoji M. I saw it for the whopping price of $0. Thank you, Megan Levy, for having technical difficulties while I was in the theater. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten the free pass that I could use on the Emoji movie. I wish I could hate the film. I wish I could feel any emotion at all towards this film. But as I watched it and got out of the theater, I felt nothing. It's not as bad as a lot of horrible movies, but it's nowhere near good. It's bland, generic, but even in its generic blandness, there are other movies with that same level that have a little bit more competence and at least could make a 2-star movie. Emoji Movie is not that. And while I'm doing this movie review, I'm going to try to be as emotionless as possible. Now, when I do a movie review, I have a specific structure. I talk about the plot, what I like about the film, what I dislike, an overall rating, and then I promote my channel. I'm sure you all know about the plot. It's a movie about emojis in a place called Textopolis. But since that's the structure of my movie review, I might as well get into the plot. In this movie, every app on your smartphone device is a perfect little world. A little world with different people, different digital things, and different purposes. In the Messenger app, there is Textopolis, inhabited by emojis. Every emoji has a job to do, and for the faces, it's very important to show only one emotion all the time, 24/7. Now this is a problem for our main character, Gene, voiced by T.J. Miller. Gene is supposed to be a meh. Unfortunately, he has all sorts of emotions. Because he has so many emotions and he's supposed to be a meh, things are difficult for him in conforming to society. And as you would expect, on his first day on the job, being an emoji, he's scanned and unfortunately uses the wrong face. This causes the wrong emoji to be sent to a girl that Alex, the user of this phone, likes. All the other emojis see Gene as a malfunction, and Smiler, the villain of this movie, played by Maya Rudolph, wants to delete Gene. In order to conform to society and be a part of the emoji perfect world, Gene, with the help of High Five, played by James Corden, have to escape the app and find a hacker named Jailbreak, played by Anna Faris. And so then an adventure happens with these 3 emojis as they travel to different apps in order to get to the cloud, where Jailbreak can hack into Gene's source code and make him a proper meh, so he can be part of society and no longer be himself. And the plot, the twists, and the character development happen exactly as you would expect for a movie like this, a movie with this plot. Because, let's face it, if you've seen a lot of cartoons or a lot of animated films in the past couple years, you have seen the plot of the Emoji movie already. But of course, their mishaps and their adventures into different apps and turning them on causes Alex to believe his phone is malfunctioning, and now he makes an appointment to delete everything on his phone, which causes the ticking clock element of this movie. Otherwise, there would be no impending doom or rush to get to a conclusion. And meanwhile, Jean's parents, Mel Meh and Mary Meh, are trying to find their son and go through some relationship struggles. And that is the Emoji movie. Now I get to talk about what I liked about the Emoji movie. There were a few things. For one, while the animation is bland, it is simple. There is something about the animation style and the movement of the characters that are fairly well done. There is some color and nice things to say about the animation, because, quite frankly, I've seen a lot worse in theaters this year. It's better than Spark a Space Tale. I do feel that there could be something great with the villain in this movie, Smiler, played by Maya Rudolph. The fact that she's supposed to be happy and supposed to be smiling can be pretty dark and sadistic, especially when she's the villain. There is a scene in this movie that is almost good, and that is the scene where Jean is sent into Smiler's office and she starts using dental instruments to fix her teeth, flosses her teeth, and at the end there's a noose, and his face is where the noose is for symbolism. There is something sadistic and pretty dark and darkly comedic about Smiler being the villain. But they don't do anything really great with it. And so it feels like wasted potential. This is also a story that has been told many times before, many times and done better. And so I could see this story as working. I can see this story as being okay. And to some people that haven't seen the greater movies that this story is, such as Wreck-It Ralph, or the Lego Movie, or Inside Out, or even Smurfs, The Lost Village, which I gave a 2-star rating. If you haven't seen any of those, then maybe you would like the Emoji Movie. But if you've seen them, you're probably going to think that this is a lazy attempt at all those films. Again, it's a story done many times in animation, especially in the past couple years, about being yourself. You don't have to conform to society. You can be yourself and be popular, and people will like you. And there's magic in being yourself. It's a moral in a story that has been used very often and worked many times before. Unfortunately, this movie just doesn't do it right and feels lazy in doing that type of story. And that concludes the good things I have to say about the Emoji Movie. Everything else, plain awful. The movie is constantly trying to throw jokes at you and be funny and entertaining. Unfortunately, all those jokes are the most immature puns that you can think of. Things that come to your mind right away when you see a scene. If you see a scene where there is a donut and she has babies, what are those babies going to be? Donut holes. You see monkeys in business suits with briefcases. Jean asks what are the briefcases for, and something along the lines of them saying business. and he asks, "What kind of business?" "Well, monkey business." Gene comes across a shrimp, and he's Australian. And what do you think he's about to say? Well, he's going to join his mates on the barbie, or however you pronounce it. I'm not good with words. Panic is ensuing. Something has gone wrong. What does the poop emoji do? Well, of course, he punches a fan. What does high five call fist bump? A knucklehead. These are the kind of puns that litter the story and just make it cringe-worthy. And only the most immature and the most devoted to childish puns will end up laughing at this film. In fact, while I was watching the film, 3 weeks after it had been released, at the very least, there were two groups of people, both families. One was with a mother and a son. They sat closest to me, and the mother laughed at almost every single pun. Now, this could mean a few things. One, she genuinely liked the puns and thought they were funny. Two, she was only laughing to try to increase the chances of her son laughing. That way he could have fun with the movie. Or the puns were just so bad she couldn't help but laugh. And so the movie is unfunny. And when a movie that has as many jokes as Transformers: The Last Knight, with equally unfunny jokes, is littered throughout the movie, then it becomes painful to watch. The characters are also very bland, and while there are character arcs in this movie, they are so simple, so devoid of detail, and so sparse in points of development that it feels like they just come randomly with almost no development whatsoever and no build-up. They just happen. The one character I was annoyed with the most was High Five, who is selfish, cares only about himself, cares only about fame and being a favorite, and it's the only reason he joins Gene on this adventure, so that he could be hacked and his code could be in the favorites once again. And that's all he cares about. There's even a moment towards the end of the film when he's put in the trash that he has character development and changes for the better. But even the film makes a mistake by making it seem like he hasn't changed one bit. He has a scene where he saves trolls from the garbage by sending down the rope to them. But in his bumbling idiocy, he knocks down the rope, and so the trolls can no longer escape. Hence taking away the character developments, taking away the redeemable qualities of High Five. Plus, he's just annoying and just one of those fat, funny characters that tags along and just gets in trouble. And he's unlikable because of his selfishness and his want of fame and no need for friends when you have fans. That's why he likes Facebook. Jailbreak is another character that can rub you the wrong way because she is a girl that needs no man. Yes, she is the character that adds feminism to this movie, but not real feminism. The extreme feminism that people think is feminism, but isn't really feminism. You know, the kind where only girls rule and guys are beneath you. That's not really feminism, but other people think it is. when it really isn't. There's even a line in this movie where she says men just take really great ideas from women and say it's their own, or something along those lines. And while I can understand what they're going for in this movie, it fails completely, and other films have done it way better. Not only is it unfunny, with characters I care nothing about, the adventure element of the film also feels forced. And yes, since this movie is set in a phone, you expect them to travel to different apps, and each of those apps being an obstacle that they have to overcome. And while it is true that these apps are obstacles in this movie, it doesn't really feel like they fit the overall story. It doesn't feel like they fit the overall quest. Instead, it feels like they're shoehorned in to advertise apps in order for you to buy said apps. And even when they do have an app as an obstacle, it makes you question why they even made this choice, because it feels so far from the app that it's crazy. Such as the Dance Dance app, where they have to dance just like the person, just like in the game, but if they fail, they get deleted and fall down an endless pit with no chance of returning. Why is Dance Dance such a sudden death game for emojis? And while the world building and the ideas in this movie could be considered creative in the loosest possible terms, this movie often breaks its own rules, making you question how this world even exists. And even the world of Textopolis doesn't quite make sense if you delve a little bit deeper into it, even in the fantasy setting of this world this movie tries to create, because it leaves far more questions. What is the lifespan of an emoji? Because Alex probably hasn't had this phone for too long. They build the human world as if technology is the main thing, that everyone has to have the latest technology, that people are so glued to their phones and the new technology of their phones that they have no use for words. They have no time to write words. Only emojis are cool. Only emojis. And so you would imagine this is a world where they try to upgrade their phones whenever possible, just like our world, for the most part. So how long has Alex had this phone? When there is at least 2 generations of emojis, at the very least, in this movie. Do emojis have sex in this movie? Because 2 meh parents have a meh child. A poop emoji has a child poop emoji. And what is the use of generations? What is the use of having multiple emojis with the same emotion? Is there different shifts in the jobs? Is there a first, second, and third shift? Do they really need a shift when Alex eventually has to sleep? Do they always have to be ready in the cubes? Does there always have to be someone in the cubes in case Alex wakes up or uses the phone? There are plenty other things like that in this movie that make you question the world building of this film, and it all collapses. But then again, you might be thinking, why am I overthinking it? It's just a kid's movie. Just accept it as a kid's movie. But there are far better animated films that do really good jobs at world building and making a complete world that makes sense. As you would imagine, the dialogue is also awful. Not only because of the bad puns, but because some of the really forced dialogue, really straight to the point dialogue that just feels downright dumb. And dialogue that doesn't feel like a real human would actually say them, even from the human characters. Such as, I really like that you're one of those guys that knows how to express his emotions. Who the hell says that? As well as, what should I write to this girl? Don't write anything. What do you mean? Words aren't cool. Use an emoji. There are even moments in this movie where it feels like they don't understand how phones work, how apps work, and that internet trolls are on the internet and are real people, not programs and not viruses within a phone. Because how can you delete a real internet troll? It would be basically murdering the person who is responsible for being an internet troll, because they are real people and not digital things within your phone. As well as such things as having an actual recycle bin, or in this case, a trash bin in this movie. There might be phones out there that do have a recycling bin, like a computer. Maybe that's the case, but I know of none. To my knowledge. There's a trash bin within the email app for emails, but not a trash bin for apps that I can think of. And even in the end of the film, when everything is being deleted, this movie doesn't understand just what that means. Because before everything could be deleted, when it's about 99.9% deleted, all Alex has to do is unplug the phone and suddenly everything restores to normal. Instead of, in actuality, there would only be 0.01% of whatever was left on your phone. You'd have to recover all that some other way. Not by simply just unplugging the phone and suddenly everything goes back to normal. That doesn't happen. Now, the Emoji Movie is a bad film. It is the 6th worst film, in my opinion, this year so far. But even so, it's still not as awful as plenty of other films out there. It is bad, but I didn't come out of it hating it. Instead, I felt nothing at all after seeing this movie, which in some cases could be even worse than hating a film. Because at least when you hate a film, you have some sort of emotional attachment to it. You have some sort of emotion you got out of the film. The Emoji Movie, I got nothing. And so the Emoji Movie, I am giving it 1 star. So, what did you think about the Emoji Movie? Go ahead and comment below. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie reviews of 2015, 2016, or 2017. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.